We had a new youngster deliver our newspaper this morning, and that triggered off thoughts and memories of the days when I used to deliver newspapers. In addition, I delivered milk, bread, and was also a message boy delivering vegetables, etc., etc. I started delivering newspapers in the summer of 1946 when I was 13 years of age. Now you must remember, or people should remember who are watching this, that in those days this was very common. We didn't have any real child protection or health and safety, call it what you like, it just didn't exist. We were out doing a job there and contributing to the family economy. Anyway, everything went swimmingly until round about December 1946, and that was the start of perhaps one of the worst winters that we ever experienced in the United Kingdom. It was bitterly cold, and it went on and on and on. There was snow absolutely everywhere, and it seemed to be continuous snow. There was never any sort of respite from it, and it was so cold it was impossible to actually keep the roads clear. I remember on one occasion, because one of my delivery points was at the far end of Portobello, and the easiest way was to route via the promenade going along there. And suddenly I discovered footprints in the snow, and they were actual footprints, not shoe prints, but footprints. And this belonged to a guy called Ned Barney, who was a long distance swimmer. He was also the oldest man to swim the English Channel. I don't know if he still is, but he certainly was at that time. And he was a head teacher, sorry, beg your pardon. He was a head teacher at the Royal High School in Edinburgh. And this was Ned doing his daily dip. The guy must have been crazy. Another experience which I had, not a very pleasant experience for a young 13-year-old boy, and it was on New Year's Day, January the 1st, 1947, because in those days nothing stopped. Newspapers were delivered or printed, and newspapers were delivered. I went into this stair or tenement building, and it was pitch dark, which is quite normal because either the gas mantle had been broken or somebody had broken. In fact, one of the favourite tricks by the winos, and this seems very strange, but it was relatively common, was to break the mantle, pinch a bottle of milk from one of the doorsteps and turn on the tap and inject the milk with gas. Most strange. Just couldn't believe it, but as I said, this was a relatively common thing. Anyway, going back to the original story, went into this dark tenement building and stumbled into something on the stairs. And I leapt back and rushed back down the stairway, opened the door, and then looked back up the corridor and the beginning of the steps, and there was a dead body. And I'd walked straight into this dead body. And this dead person, he was a sort of vagrant, but he was a local vagrant, and he was a brother of one of the guys in the flat. Anyway, the big day, January the 1st, was the football derby between Hearts and Hibs, and this was being played at Tynecastle. And I went up there, but I was so upset by discovering this body. In fact, I didn't actually tell anybody. I just ran and legged it. But anyway, going back to the football match, big crowd there, perhaps about 35, 40,000, not quite sure. But I was overcome with the emotion of finding this guy, and had to get lifted out over the heads of the crowd and taken away on a stretcher, and then I got kicked out the ground at the end, and that was me. Found a dead body and missed the football match. So there you go. And of course, one of the other jobs I used to do was, because there was no waste deposit bins anywhere, and all coal fires, everybody used to have to put their own bucket out at the foot of the stairs on the pavement. And as I was a relatively enterprising young boy, I decided that I would start a subsidiary job of taking the old people's dustbins down to the foot of the stairs and placing on the pavement. So this was another source of income for me, one which I didn't tell my mother because, as I said earlier, everybody who was delivering papers at that time, very young people, were also part of the economy and had to give their parents, or in particular their mother, a percentage of the newspaper money. One of my favourite calling off points when I used to be delivering newspapers was into the local bakery, and there I was given a couple of rolls with lemon curd, hot rolls with lemon curd, and a cup of tea. This was in exchange for either newspapers, which I'd pinched from the newsagents, which I shouldn't have done, or alternatively to allow the bakers to sit down for 5-10 minutes and read all the latest news in the newspapers. So that was quite a good deal. And as I said, during certain times when some of the milk boys were either sick or couldn't deliver the milk, I used to deputise as a milk boy, which really wasn't a very good job because it was quite hard work. And although I was physically fit and very fast, because running up and down stairs the whole time was an excellent way to keep fit. Of course, we never actually saw it as that. It was basically a job and a way of earning money. Another job, which I was one of the deputies, was as a greengrocer delivery boy, with one of those big push bikes, or message bikes I should say, with the very large basket holder in the front and the small wheel. And of course, because I was the deputy, I used to get all the rotten jobs, the ones where you had to climb hills, and it was virtually impossible to cycle up the hills with this huge basket. So you ended up very similar to that Hovis advert that we used to see on television, with the young boy pushing the bike up the hill. That was me. So there you go. Young, fit and enterprising. I wish I was like that now. Anyway, nice to speak to you all. Take care and may your God go with you.